driving around. I think more is.
You guys look at each other, we're gonna have to take it. I just got
Yeah, so
it. I was telling the mayor, been sitting I'd like to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Hensel.
Here.
Commissioner Marshall,
Here.
Commissioner McGee.
Here.
Commissioner or City Manager Mitchell.
Here.
Mayor Mohammed.
Present.
Commissioner Shaw is absent. Chairman Reed.
Present.
You have a quorum present.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Are there any changes or amendments to be made? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
I move that we approve the agenda.
Support.
Mr. Hensel made the motion, supported by the mayor.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Commissioner McGee.
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel.
Yes.
City Manager Mitchell.
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 4, the regular meeting minutes for June the 4th, 2019. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions? Hearing none, make the motion, need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by City Manager McGee and supported by Commissioner Hensel.
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
City Manager
City
Mitchell.
Manager Mitchell.
Oh,
City Manager Mitchell.
Yes.
Commissioner McGee.
yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel.
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 5, the special meeting minutes for May the 14th, 2019. Are there any corrections, changes, or amendments?
I move we adopt the minutes for the special meeting.
Do you have support?
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Hensel, supported by Commissioner McGee. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner McGee.
Yes.
City Manager Mitchell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel.
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, I would like to open up the meeting for public comments. Does anyone who has any comments concerning any issue that's before us or any other comment in general? We have 3 minutes to do so. Observing if there's no one wishing to make a public comment, we'll move on to item number 7, new business. We have a site plan application for 1123 Territorial. That's for the construction of a new building or an expansion of the use of an existing building. Could we get our building official to give us more information as to this application?
They're adding T hangers onto additional hangar that's there to, so, store more airplanes. And what it is people that own their own airplanes, they rent the hangars there. So I've been at the project and take a look, and I recommend that where they want to put it is a good spot. I've been a flight instructor for years out there, but I gave it up about a year ago. The FAA said I was getting too old. So, but that's only one of the jobs that I had. But, so I know, what they're doing is, and it's okay with the site plan, this.
This is wholly within the airport.
What's that?
This site plan, the building is totally within the airport,
Yes,
so it won't impact anything else.
won't impact anything. In fact, it's they got a lot more room for a lot more buildings.
Is there anybody here representing this application? Okay, I'm gonna open this up to the rest of the commission. Anybody have any additional questions of our building official?
What was the purpose, Mr. Chairman, of the hangar or the development?
Was that stated in the application?
They need more room, all the hangars are full of people that own their own airplanes. And so they need more hangars to accommodate.
What's the cost of the construction? Mr. Chair.
That I don't have with me, but the hangar will rent for about $25 a month.
Mr. Chairman, is it required that they pull permits?
Yes,
Yes.
it would be required to do so. Have they requested permits for the work?
Yes, they have.
Paid all applicable fees?
Yes.
They've already paid?
We have a copy of the check.
I believe they have, yes.
It's a copy of the check. Would it be appropriate for us to know construction costs? That's to the chair.
I should have brought that with me and I didn't. You can have that. That's not a problem.
You have a ballpark figure, Mr. President?
I have just obtained this information about an hour ago. Haven't had an opportunity to review it. So might be to our advantage to look into this a little more carefully if there's additional questions that need to be answered.
Well, what's the percentage of the, are the permits based upon a percentage of the construction costs?
That's right. They're all, everybody's the same. no matter if it's you or who it is, if they're gonna build something.
So if the permits is 1,200, then, or how will we cap? Because I think it's important that we know, on the front end, the cost of the construction, what we're voting on, what the dollar amount is, for the development. If it's accessible or readily handleable, could the assessor be excused to go and get it? Or not the assessor, probably the building inspector.
I can go get it.
What is the procedure to allow them to go get that? We temporarily park it?
If you have more questions or more discussion, the planning commission, you can go on to, on with the discussion and.
Right, I think if the chair excuses someone to go in for a particular, then that's the prerogative of the chair. If you excuse somebody from the meeting for a particular purpose or reason, then I don't see any violation or offense to the meeting.
Is that information readily available, something that you can go and get?
I believe I have it here. If not, it will be in my truck.
Which is parked outside.
Right. I can go get it.
We'll excuse you to go get that.
I'm sorry I didn't bring it with me. I didn't think that would be a problem. Everybody pays the same, no matter who they are.
Well, the chair, the cost of the construction of the hangar.
Everybody has to pay by the cost to get a permit.
The site review was the $1,200 that was paid. So
Right.
If there be additional expenses,
So it's like, so when Whirlpool came before us we knew that it was a $68 million development. And it was gonna be in 3 phases. And the construction cost estimated was 68 million. So they didn't come before us and say that they want to build this building, but they don't know how much it cost. We didn't know how much the value of what was being built. It was present. So I'm just asking, I think if it's not appropriate, then of course I submit, but I think it's appropriate that we know the hangar is it's $180,000, development or what have you.
and the assessor, of course, they look at taxable value and so forth. So I understand.
So it will be taxable.
We would have to look at the current tax base as it applies to the airport. I mean, the airport is not exempt from tax.
Speak in the microphone, please.
I don't know of the current taxable value of airport property. So this expansion or extension, I'm sure would increase the value of whatever building is being improved. So there would most likely be a tax advantage for the city. Any more questions? Concerns, discussion? Here. Questions?
Mr. Chair.
Chair recognizes Commissioner.
I noticed that we need to add something to the site plan review application and to the checklist. Nowhere, I'm maybe overlooking it, but I don't see where it requests the seal and the signature on the documents, the drawings and plans that are submitted, and that's a requirement, a state requirement in the state statute. And I've noticed that things have been coming through that way. I just thought it was somebody overlooked it, but I see it's not in the application or on the checklist, which is the final document they fill out. So we'll need to ask that that be added.
Could you, the Vice Chair had made a point, what page or where can I follow that point on the
He's
application?
looking at the site plan application. That should be part of the package that's in your, that should be in the application. Well, the application will be part of the original package that you gave us.
Perhaps the larger full-size drawings are signed and sealed, but we have no way of knowing that. And they weren't asked to do that in the application or in the checklist. It should be an original seal and it should be an ink signature.
The original drawing sealed
Oh, we got them right here.
by the architect.
Yeah. What the airplane is, all that is a garage.
I understand that. We're actually, is there an architect seal on the documents that you have?
Is that it there?
Okay, that's your logo.
Yeah, These are the ones from there.
Lay them out, so you can see. I don't see a seal. I don't get it.
Yeah, they're preliminary.
I think these are preliminary drawings, these are finished drawings, and they're not.
Well, we wouldn't build it anyway until we get one with a seal.
Well, we can't,
However,
we
for
can't
the
make it.
approval process, we would need that.
You would need the
That would
seal.
be part of the application itself when it comes to,
Okay. Well, you'll have to forgive me because I've only been here about 3 months. It's the first time today. Not with you folks.
and like, we understand.
So, Mr. Chair, should we ask that the applications be revised to include a request for that information?
That would be part of the application process, yes. We have to have a complete application before we can consider it. Unless we consider, I think that part of the conditional approval, if we reach that point.
Mr. Chair, I have another question. We just got these documents walking in the door, and we do have a process that they're supposed to go through before they get to us. And we're supposed to have a couple of weeks to look at them according to the ordinance and the statute, so that we have time to actually review the projects that are being presented to make sure that they conform with our zoning and other concerns that we're interested in. But I can't really, other than to listen to a description of the project, which we haven't fully heard yet, I can't really see how we can make any decisions.
Any additional discussion, concerns? Do you wish to make a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Marshall?
I just want to thank the mayor for bringing attention to this, because we don't want to do this or then, and it's inappropriate, and somebody else come along and ask us to do it, and we don't do it. So I'm thankful to I'm thankful to the mayor for being wise enough and astute enough to ask the appropriate questions to get the answers we need.
Mr. Chairman, is the dollar amount available?
Mr. Deerpath, found that information? Do we need a motion to table this until we can get the necessary review?
Absolutely.
I would request that we have a motion to table this until we can fully, so that the staff can fully go over the application.
I make a motion that we table it.
Support.
Motion is made by Commissioner McGee to table, and supported by the mayor. Next roll. Yes, call the roll.
City Manager Mitchell,
Discussion before voting. I recognize city manager.
What's the timing on, anybody can tell me the timing on this project, where we are on this?
They're not gonna do it this spring.
Right?
They're not gonna do it till spring.
In the spring, okay. You wanted to make sure.
So we're not delaying. Call the roll, please.
City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Chairman Reed,
Yes.
motion carries.
We move to the site plan application for the 900 Rico Road. Review for an expansion or new facility. Could we have the building official give us an overall view of this particular application?
Yes. I took this home last night. I spent over 6 hours just looking at it. Yeah, let me put a little background on myself. I'm a farm boy in the Air Force. And I was one of the general foremen when we built the cook plant. Since then, I built houses. I've done about everything else. Here's El Rico. Right here is a project that you really have.
You guys have it.
I've been at this site and I've been also at the airport, so I made sure what they were doing. This is actually a good thing, Benton Harbor, because more than likely it cost you $1 million just to clean that place up out there at El Rico. This project here is 3.9 million. And they called today and wanted to know what the building permit fee would be. And we couldn't tell them because we don't go that high. So we're gonna have to get back with them on that. That's where this project is at. And it's, I wrote myself a note that I recommend this project. I do approve the plans proposed and move forward that are presented. I do know that there will be small things on the project, on Noble project, that will be changed, but will not be done without my approval. So it'll be a daily thing that I have to be there and make sure they're doing things right because of all the things that they've done. Because of the jobs I've had, I went through this here and there were things in here that I put a yellow mark on to make sure that it doesn't happen there. Because a lot of times on a big project like this one, they'll try and get ahead of things and then they find out later on that now they gotta go back and remove stuff because they shouldn't have done it. So that's what the plans are for, is to make sure that we follow through and do things that are supposed to be done. That is all high ground there. You don't have to worry about water and that kind of thing, but that still has to be approved by.
So from the site plan review point of view,
Yeah.
it meets all the necessary requirements,
Right.
everything that they intend to do in that facility.
It does meet the requirement.
Are there any state laws, since it's a marijuana processing facility, that we should be aware of that they're required to also complete?
The state law, that's one reason that this has hung on so long, because the state had to give us approval first before this could process on through.
The state has certain specific requirements for a marijuana processing facility. Question I'm asking.
This is not marijuana.
It's not a marijuana?
It is a medical marijuana facility.
Thank you for the correction. And to your knowledge, the existing ordinances are in compliance with the state requirements for a medical marijuana processing facility?
Yes.
So if we were to approve that today, there would be no need for us to come back later and mention if it was something that we missed.
Should not be.
We have someone who represents this particular review. We'd like to get your slant. You're here to approve the site plan,
Yes.
not the merits of what it is you're doing.
My name is Ali Adewoye, and I'm the architect for the project. If the, like the buildings official said, we met all the zoning requirement and also all the state requirement for processing marijuana.
And you have received the special use permit. Is that correct?
Yes, we have
So the only thing we're doing today is approving the site
the
plan.
site plan, yes.
Okay. I'd like to open this up to the commission for questions.
Mr. Chair.
Recognize Commissioner Henson.
How long have you had these drawings?
Well, the drawings were here before I was hired,
Okay.
so he received them in June sometime.
We received them today. And I'm just curious again, why they didn't come to us before the meeting in time to be considered.
Well, Darwin knew they were there. And we could have come to them.
Normally, we would require 2 to 3 week opportunity to review. But as Commissioner Henson just mentioned, we only received this an hour ago. I'm asking questions about the state laws and regulations because I am aware that there were some specifics in those that are required here. So to make sure that this medical marijuana facility meets all of the necessary requirements and that we are operating within those requirements, we need time to review these. So I'm not sure that we're going to be in a position to be able to give a decision in this particular meeting today. So have you had an opportunity to review it? And once again, I don't see a seal on these either. Did you see a seal?
No, they're not sealed.
We have a set that are sealed that we can provide you.
Okay, that's part of the site plan review.
You know, the seal is on here.
Okay. It's raised. Okay.
Sure, Joe. Sure, Joe.
No. Everybody satisfied? Okay.
If I might speak to the chair,
Yes.
the MRA, Marijuana Regulatory Authority, will not give final approval for a facility to operate until they have verified through a physical inspection of the project.
You're saying the state will come down?
The state will come back and give final approval before it can operate as a facility.
But we have received
We have received pre-approval on the site plans from the state as well.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, have the local, because I understand that the local licensing has not been approved. So is it separate? I mean, because if local licensing has not been approved, we can build $100 million facility. But if the local license has not been satisfied, then the company cannot operate. So I think that, I don't know if that's a separate conversation from the site plan approval. But I have to mention it because it's germane to moving forward. So maybe that's like I said, a separate conversation, away from this board. But I mean, I would be concerned, and I'm speaking as the mayor, that they're not, they're not met. So maybe that's a conversation later that I can have, but I'm just putting it out there for the record that I think that as we move forward with site plans and land use permits and et cetera, that all, the entire wagon is circled. Then also, the building inspector said that the plans have been sitting on, I guess, the desk since June. We received it 60 minutes ago as a board. How can we be expected to approve a $3.9 million development, site use or site plans, and we've only seen it for 60 minutes?
I asked a similar question about 1 o'clock of the previous city manager. Majority of last year, this commission spent a considerable amount of time examining ordinances, examining zoning districts to determine how best we could assist the city in writing a medical marijuana ordinance. I was told by the previous city manager that this is a site plan review. That's the only thing we're doing. Does the facility meet the requirements of our existing ordinances and zoning districts? And the answer is yes, it does. That's what we reviewed when we gave them the special use permit and recommended it to the full commission. What we're doing here today is simply to determine whether or not this facility meets all of the necessary requirements. Now, I've read the 2008 Marijuana Facilities Enabling Act, and then there's another one, I think it's 2016, which gives more specific details as to what specific things that the facility must have, where the exit should be, what type of security cameras and things of this nature. The licensing would be something totally different from the facility. So here today, the only thing we can do is ask our building official, does the facility meet the requirements under the existing ordinances and zoning districts? And his reply was yes. Now, they're indicating that the state will come in and review for their purpose. So if that is the case, then I'm not sure what other questions we need to ask at this time. But I'm still haven't seen the city's local ordinances. What did the city, what did the legislature, what did you all enact last year? I'm not sure when it was probably May of last year when they made some changes to the ordinances. So I don't know what those are. Haven't seen them. So my question to the previous city manager was, did that have anything to do with what we were going to do today? And he said no. He said we were only looking at a site plan review. So based upon this, if the building official says that it meets all of the necessary requirements, then you all are satisfied and have no other questions. And I'm not sure that there was anything that we missed.
Speaking as staff, Mr. Chair,
Manager.
I'll just let you all know that we went through this thoroughly this morning. Over the plans, making sure all I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Are there any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Hensel.
we're required to go through a process. That's the point of this. We're getting advice from staff. We make a decision based on the facts that have been presented to us and the advice. But with that, however it happened that it's just coming to us today, our obligation is to take it and look at it seriously and make sure that we believe as a commission that it complies with the zoning ordinances. And that seems to me to be impossible unless we adjourn and take a break, take time to look at it and come back. So I wonder, could we continue this meeting on another day to do this? Or can we do a special meeting in order to make the decision after we've had a chance to look at it? But as things stand, I don't see how we can take a vote on a plan that we're just getting to an hour before we got here. And that's not at the fault of the applicants, and I'm sorry for any delays that these discussions might bring. But there are statutes and city ordinances that we are supposed to be operating under.
To address what Commissioner Hensel just said, we have a 45-day window in which to get back to you on this. So is there any objection to us taking a closer look at this?
I'm not objecting. I just want to make a statement. When we got the, last time I was here presenting for the special use, we were told to submit a full site plan for consideration, and it will take 45 days. The reason why it takes 45 days is that it will go to the city engineer, consulting engineer, which is, by my recollection, is Urban Marsh. This plan has been through your engineering department and is passed. It's gone through the building department and it's passed. There is really, we've met every, the special use permit and the site plan, it's hard to distinguish when you're actually going through the site plan, except for the engineering aspect of it, which is the drainage, the utilities, which we've met all of that by your own engineer. So now, I'm not really knowing what extended period of looking at it will reveal. It's not going to reveal anything different. We were told 45 days. We submitted the plans the very next day. We met with your engineer several times. So we've done our own.
Has 45 days elapsed?
Yes.
The first submission.
The first submission was in April.
Mr. Chairman, if I can add, fortunately or unfortunately, depending upon which view you have, staff does not, with the exception of the city manager, does not vote. So it's great that the staff has done their job and have reviewed and taken a fine-tooth comb through the engineering and inspection side of it. However, those who vote should be given the same appreciation in terms of us having the proper time to review and look, and of course discuss where we can, vote without a blindfold on. Because at this point, I mean, of course, I love to rely on staff. However, I also like to vote my conviction as well, and based upon some type of comprehensive knowledge base. So I'm just seeing this, like when the clerk put it in my hand. Did you email it?
Not the actual plan.
Not the actual plans. So if without offense or objection, even if we have to come back to have a special meeting, if I could be afforded that appreciation to just at least look at it, I would be grateful.
That's fair. Anybody object to that? I recognize Commissioner Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is there a financial hardship attached to this site plan, meaning if it's not done at a particular time, monies will be lost?
I'm not gonna say that that is not a possibility.
The other concern I have is I'm not an engineer. I'm not an architect. And if the engineers and the architects have determined that everything required is done, then I'm not opposed to delaying it, but I don't really understand why we're going to delay it when all the requirements that was put forward has been met.
I've heard it said many times in this chamber, I can't vote on something that I just looked at. I'm of the opinion that for us to be satisfied that we're making correct decisions, I would recommend that we take a closer look at this to make sure that all of those of us who vote are satisfied that there's no issue that we missed. Now, we can get back to this in a special meeting. We can call for a subcommittee to get with staff and we go over this very thorough. And then call a special meeting when we decide we're ready to make a vote before our next scheduled meeting. So those are the options that we have, I think, right now.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, a week, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I mean, you know, next Tuesday, I think I can go through whatever questions I may have. I can ask. I mean, I certainly don't want to be an obstructionist to development. However, I would like to, I think the commissioner so stated that, you know, every time we vote or make a decision, it sets a precedence. So the precedence, I think that, you know, giving voting body time to review. I think I could definitely within a week next Tuesday be comfortable in making an informed decision.
We need a motion to table for further review. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we table it for further review.
Support.
Motion is made by Commissioner McGee and supported by the mayor.
And should we,
I have one
Mr. Chair.
question about the special meeting. Are we having a special meeting for sure next Tuesday? We make that a part of the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to add next Tuesday for a date for the
Special meeting,
special meeting,
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the motion. Okay. Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
yes,
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
City Manager Mitchell,
Can I make a statement before I vote? I'm put in a tough position. The mayor's voting one way, and I've got staff that has put in the time in this document. And the staff is the expert. This man has the skills, and he's brought it to me, the clerk. We've sat down, and the young lady over there is supervising. And I know it's short notice, but the experts have looked at it, and we're making a recommendation. And as I said, I'm in a tough position. So that statement, I'm gonna have to go with staff.
And your
yes
answer?
or no?
But too smart for me. I'll vote with the rest of them. But I want you to know that we did the work on this. And it might not have come to you in what you think is a timely manner. But these people have put this project together, and it's been waiting for some time. That's why I had everybody on the table this morning, making sure that we knew what we were doing, and that the recommendation was it. Okay?
Saying your answer was 4 years.
For the sake of peace, I'll vote with yes.
Commissioner McGee? Commissioner McGee?
Yes.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We're not doubting the ability of the staff to do an excellent job. What we were saying is we only received this at the time we walked in the door today. So we needed an opportunity to review it, to at least determine what it was we were voting on.
Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Minton, you mentioned your staff. I think it would be appropriate to avoid this in the future, that your staff get the information we need to us before we come here, so we will have the time to review it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I preceded my conversation with the fact that these documents have been sitting.
Yes, sir. I joined the building official just last Thursday, and assisted him in finding them. So I am also aware of the fact that they have been opened. I also would like to read to you the bylaws of the planning commission so we can all be on the same page. Items received by the planning or zoning administrator between 7 business days prior to the next regularly scheduled commission meeting and the next regularly scheduled commission meeting shall be set aside to be received by the commission at its next regularly scheduled commission meeting. Okay, that's a mouthful to say. If we don't have at least 7 days prior to our meeting, business days, we can set it off to the next scheduled meeting. So we got this as we walk through the door today. So we are actually operating within our bylaws. This has nothing to do with you. You will have your answer next Tuesday. If all goes as it say it should, I don't foresee any other, I'm gonna stop talking now.
Okay, thank you for the consideration. We'll be here next Tuesday.
At 1 o'clock. Okay. The city attorney grant.
Rock here.
Rock. Okay, the city attorney was supposed to give us a presentation on the temporary moratorium on signs, letting us know where we legally stood at this time if we wanted to institute such a moratorium. Since he is not here, we will move on to our next step. That'll be item D, the master plan denial. The city commission denied our recommendation for Housel and Levine to do a site plan review, having us to go back to look at the other remaining pool of potential proposals, finding none. The only one that was left was the Lenert Group, which we did not recommend. So at this time, I'm looking for some ideas on what we should do next. One of the ideas would be to ask for another request for a proposal so that we can have someone to choose from. Or take a second look at the dirt groups and decide where we want to go moving forward.
Mr. Chairman, the city council didn't vote to or voted no to the recommendation, which was Housel Levine. However, there were sentiments expressed during the discussion and debate that the other company, which I believe was Whiteman and Associates, had the wherewithal and the experience to execute at what was offered from them or from that group as an alternative. However, there was never any consideration of them, of Whiteman and Associates, given that that was not the recommendation. So I don't know legally how, if new bids need to be placed out or the alternative company, if they could be recommended, given that they were second. But, I think it's definitely something that should be on our table, given the importance of the master plan.
Any other comments? Discussion?
Mr. Chair, so the minutes that we just approved actually are a discussion of this very thing on page 3, where we were told that we would be getting a legal opinion by the former city manager Watson. Also, the city attorney explained that the planning commission recognizes the need for a review of the master plan, and if they don't find applicants left in the pool adequate, they have a right to formally request the city commission to permit another RFP process. So I made a motion at that meeting, which says that we were going to table this discussion on letting out a new RFP until the next meeting. So I'd like to just say, I think we really need to ask for the new RFP.
Is that a motion?
I'd like to make that motion, yes, that we ask the city commission to issue, for the city manager to issue a new RFP for master plan update.
Support.
Motion is made by Commissioner Hensel, and supported by Mayor.
For clarity, you started to say ask city, or the city commission, then you said city manager.
For the city manager to issue
Okay.
the RFP.
Discussion. Hearing none. Call.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall, City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, we will entertain the nominations for leadership. There will be for a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. Before we do the nominations, I would like to ask the city clerk if she would be our secretary, recording secretary.
The recording secretary, yes.
Nominations for the chairman. Everybody looking at me.
Chair. I nominate Lee Reed for chair.
Support.
Motion to select the chairman, the current chairman, Lee Reed, made by Commissioner McGee and supported by the mayor. Discussion. Call for the vote.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall, Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Call for nominations for the vice chair. I nominate our current vice chairman. Oh, wait a minute. You all have to do that. Good try.
I nominate our current vice chair to remain in that position.
Support.
Motion is made by Commissioner Marshall and supported by the mayor that, Vice Chairman Hensel stay in that position. Discussion. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This takes us to agenda item F, discussion of bylaws. Due to the fact that we had to cancel 2 meetings due to a lack of a quorum, I reviewed our bylaws. I also reviewed the state's recommendation for bylaws. I also read the article on how to avoid potential litigation for failing to perform our duties. I discovered that the existing planning commission bylaws are not exactly correct, and that we should model our bylaws after the state recommendations of the 2008 planning laws. I spoke to Attorney Grant about this, and he said that the state law trumps local ordinance. So I recommend that we have a subcommittee to review the state law and our current bylaws so that we could make the recommended changes to the full city commission. No, I'll take that back. So that we can make the necessary changes to our bylaws so that we are in conformance with the state laws. I would like or recommend that we have a motion to set up a subcommittee to review the bylaws and potential changes. I would like to have 3 of our current commissioners to work on that with me. Can I get a motion and volunteers?
In that motion, you should probably list or name your volunteers.
Yes. I need volunteers in that motion. Who would like to volunteer to do that between now and the next special meeting? Is it possible we could include that, or would that have to be a separate?
Will you have enough time to review and then send recommendations so that for next week? I don't think you'll have enough time.
Okay, we'll make that,
We can do it for the next
agenda
regular
for the
meeting.
next meeting. Okay. We would like to assist in the review of the existing bylaws and the current law.
I'll volunteer.
I get 2 more, please.
How about that?
Want to be a part of that?
As well.
Okay. Commissioners Hensel, McGee, and Marshall, and myself will review the existing laws. While we're at it, okay, I need a motion to approve the subcommittee and its participants.
Make the motion that we approve.
Support.
Motion is made by Commissioner McGee and is supported by the mayor. Discussion. Call for the vote, please.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes?
City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall, Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, we will have Commissioner.
I
Recognize.
ask a question. On page 7, under special meeting shall be called in the following manner. Line 3,
What, document? What page?
Bylaw.
Yeah,
Okay, page what?
7.
it's in line 3. It reads, by the chair, at the request of any non-member of the commission, upon payment of non-refundable fee of $500 to cover costs of the special meeting, have we been adhering to that?
We have not had anyone outside the commission call for it.
It was my understanding the special meeting last week was called on behalf of Cornerstone to put forth their plans to do what you said.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, where is our staff person who could answer the question about whether or not he actually took $500 for a special meeting fee?
Chris, the zoning administrator, you want to read? Not the last meeting, but they're asking if he took any payment.
Mr. Chairman, who called the last meeting?
I did. At the behest of Greg Vaughn from Cornerstone Alliance. He indicated that he had received the call from the state indicating that the Oprah, they needed certified documents to show what action that the commission had taken on the assessors subdividing of that property.
So prior to receiving the minutes, should be paid.
Yes.
And I mean, if that's the requirement, and I'm thankful to Commissioner Marshall for bringing that to our attention, because it's so important that we hold the rule of law.
Yes.
Especially in an environment where there's been a total disregard for law. And kingship is almost becoming the rule. So it's a flaw, and I think that we should enforce that, because I guess the minutes were approved today, is that correct?
Yes.
So prior to receiving, there should be compliance, I think, with the bylaws. Now, if I think this the part where the fact that there was no corn, was that the reason why it was not approved? So the special meeting was sparked because of the lack of a quorum.
Yes.
Mr. Chair,
The city clerk,
I'm finished.
yes,
I recognize the city.
okay.
My only question, when they talked to you, did you make them aware of the $500 fee? And my thought is maybe if they knew about it, maybe they would have just waited until, but I don't know, because you didn't have that conversation with them.
They called, they were very upset because their investors were getting very nervous and were talking of pulling out. And I made a statement to him that I would not allow this on my watch, simply because we couldn't approve the minutes. We're gonna lose a $2 million project because we couldn't get enough people in this room to approve the minutes. So I called for a special meeting, and I was assured by everybody that I spoke to that I would have a quorum. Of course, it didn't turn out like that. But nonetheless, we did.
That's just my only concern, that they didn't know. I'm not sure if they have a copy of our bylaws to know that there's a fee for calling a special meeting.
And I did not mention to them, so that would be my error, calling the meeting without compensation.
So I guess you gotta come out of your pocket, Mr. Chair. No, just.
I do know the law. I'm a volunteer.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So would that be something that would have to be waived? Or how would we reconcile the bylaws and the special meeting?
I believe that's something we need to be aware of moving forward. I think we missed that opportunity to collect $500 this time. but I would be totally mindful of that in the future. I did just realize. Smile. Okay. At this time, we'll have commission comments. If any of you have any comments you would like to make, this would be the time to do it. Commissioner Marshall.
I would like to thank young people back there for attending a special meeting, well, the dinner with Mayor. And from what he's put in my ear, that you are a bunch of eager, energetic young people with potential leadership in mind. And I'm proud to see you, and hopefully that you learn something about government to keep you interested. So one day, your name could be up here. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, I would also like to echo the same sentiments. So these young people came today under the call, lunch with leaders, and they came up with their 5 ideas of what leadership is, and one was setting a good example, 2, encouraging people to do good, do what is best for yourself, helping the community, and number 5, not being a follower. So I just want to thank them for coming and learning and staying the whole meeting. And hopefully, as Commissioner Marshall said, you learned something. And I'd like to invite you back in the future as well.
If there are no additional comments, we need a motion.
I'd like to ask about where we stand with the attendance. It seems we have a commissioner who has not been attending meetings, has missed more than 3 consecutive regular meetings, and has not responded. Do we need to put that on the agenda for next month, or can we talk about it today? What you might.
Not on the agenda for today, but our discussion of the bylaws is what I intend to correct. And I believe at that time, we should be able to come back at our next regularly scheduled meeting, and attendance will be
Enforced.
yes. So make that an agenda item. Commission, it's on page 2, I think. I'm not quoting from it. I'm only saying that 3 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings, we have a commissioner who has not been here for 7 meetings. So that meets that, nor have they met the training requirements. So they was another issue that we would bring. And indicate in that we would have a special public hearing as part of the attendance.
So last year, we took out the requirement for a public hearing. When we do our review of the bylaws, it should be added back in. So
Correct. And at that time, we can
address it at that time.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that we're able to do all of that in one sitting, which would be the next meeting. Okay. Any additional comments from anybody?
I would like to know for the staff what concerning the hangars, are they taxable?
I don't believe they are. The airport itself pays taxes for all the property. And it's, all that is just like a garage. It's not some place where somebody's gonna make any money. And, so, but I'm not sure. I mean, that's something that maybe you guys should look into.
Thank you.
If the commission doesn't object to it, I can reach out to our assessor and get something in writing for when we entertain this motion again.
Yes.
I have it, ready for the planning commission.
Okay. If there's no additional business, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
One other thing, I'm hoping that you'll have to get another planning commissioner.
All of this is gonna come up at the very next meeting, we start discussing attendance. I wanted to do it in one swoop, so when you send it to the city, you eliminate a spot and you create vacancies. So hopefully we can do it all in one swoop. Yes,
Can I say something?
yes.
I'm sorry that all this didn't get to you beforehand, but nobody told me how this all went about. See, if I'd have known, you'd have had this more than a month ago.
May I present him with the list, planning commission list of who the members are? If you'll notice down here is his name.
Yep, we just added, but he didn't,
Does the inspector have the bylaws?
I can get him for him. I'll get him for him.
We get ready to change all that. Yeah. Make sure it's the 2018.
I have the current version of it.
I'm sorry.
Welcome to the job.
Okay, for the third time, can you go home, please?
Yes. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion by the mayor, supported by Commissioner Marshall. Call the roll.
City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall, Mayor Muhammad,
Yes.
Commissioner Henson.
No,
Well, you'll sit here by yourself.
Is that your real answer now?
yeah. No, it's not my real answer. Yes, my real answer.
Chairman Reed. Chairman Reed, your answer?
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Motion carries.
When do we need to meet concerning the site review?
I think you should.
Is that- I mean, really, that's part of the job. You discuss it, and the commissioners discuss it.
Right, so at the special meeting.
Yeah. It's never not done, drag out, whatever.
It's actually in your comments.
Here's the other question. Are they still taking township water? Or are they gonna put it back in? It doesn't say nothing about it.
Well, it will show where it is.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make a special recommendation for that?
Right.
The city commission wants to do something. I mean, if it's within the city limits.
You guys have a copy of
Well, I have a question.
did y'all have copies of the enabling act?
Yeah, I'd like to.
All righty.
No, we called, it, they didn't want it.
They- Okay.
No, they didn't want it. That's what all it is.
Oh, they didn't, they didn't want it, they wanted you to decide today.
They didn't ask for it. We,
Okay, good, just put it on.
but that,
Well, I know.
for good business.
I would have been interested to
And
do
I,
that.
see, I didn't know, then I just talked, but.
I don't care, I don't care what anybody over there says about Indians.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
We're required by the state.
But I'm saying that charging them, charging $500 or something, that they did everything.
They've already had 12 for the privilege of doing this. And they're supposed to have
I'm
been
glad you're not gonna do your boss.
in the summer.
Okay.
So, okay.
That's the latest.
You're welcome.
And then there's some middle.
All right, that, they submitted it, what, June 11th?
I want to tell you guys too.
They're doing it
Initial
initial.
ones in April.
Initial one in April.
But what it was never, we didn't fail to act, we never received it. So,
Oh, really?
it's only been here 3 months.
Right, there's nobody else. And you had to help them find this.
It was on.
Oh, I need to have a meeting.
I still started to grow. When I asked them about it, staff knew nothing about it. They said they hadn't seen it. They said they don't do it 3 months, but they hadn't seen it.
Oh, right.
We went through the staff things on the best, but I said, this is what we're looking for.
Excuse me, young people, when you turn 18,
No, I'm just hard.
we need people who are interested and have the ability. We're interested maybe in city planning or in our other boards to just step up and fill out an application and join us. We're gonna have 2 openings on this board shortly. And they come up regularly on the different boards, so please, if you're interested in city government and making your city better, take a look.
Don't you already have two? Yeah, Mr. Mitchell will go over, so that's one opening, and then you already had one. And now, if you guys give it a shot, then that'll be there, so.
That's what I want to do, all of that, correct the bylaw.
Okay, well, so.
More than one half.
That's what we're saying, that's not going to be discussed next week, that's next month.
Right.
So next, so the special meeting will only be for the.
Oh, that's all I need. I wanted to make sure that I had it right. We'll
Yep,
have
we
one
can.
item on special meeting, and then that other, site plan review goes back to the regular meeting, right? The next, the one on the chair, so,
Yes.
okay, make sure I had it right. Okay.
And I was just a little distracted, somebody, the State Board of Education is meeting right now. And someone was, apparently, I was there, talking about Benton Harbor, various schools, and someone was sending me information about
They're
that.
meeting up
In Lansing, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't you want to be there?
No, they're meeting in Lansing, but you can watch, they tape them, you can watch them live, or you can watch them after the fact. And, but I was just telling you, well, let me know when they do that.
So distracted.
Yeah, I was distracted because like state school board, you know, that's, right now, that is like really high priority. And he was going to their talk, so now we don't know where, so, okay. They go to the school board meeting tonight at 6, so.
Busy day.
It is, everything's, in fact, I already pushed one thing off to the, and then 3 more things happened on my side. So it's like, anyway, so the more, what did you guys do?
Nothing. It's the
City attorney's.
Okay, all right. And the master plan, you're gonna put out the RFP.
We're gonna request. Formally, we formally are requested into RFP.
So who had already requested? So the city commission had to approve it?
But they have to approve the expense. The city manager is the person who created.
Gotcha, okay, so,
Money's already been set aside.
Yeah.
It's just how much of it they want to use.
and if you're still the chair, you're still vice chair. Secretary.
That was, Kimberly City Clerk.
She's not elected.
Oh, okay, but I'm just worried about that. All right. Anyway, sorry, I got a little distracted. Sorry.
Yeah. I was surprised to see. Like, there's, what we talked about. But did you send
What did I do?
you, when we were talking after the last, after the special meeting, you said there were things you wanted to place on the agenda. The agenda came out and none of them were on. So then we get an updated agenda this morning. I was just wondering, when did you send your changes?
I went last Thursday to find out where mobile site plan was. They put it in back in April.
Yeah, so last Thursday, you talked to someone about adding these things to the agenda.
No, I told them to make sure they got them, but not the airport.
No, but I just mean the housekeeping things you wanted to do
Yes.
this. And
So that
so,
was from basic officer.
so he, but you told the building official, or you told for the agenda. I'm just trying to figure out what
And he
what
set the
take-
agenda over a month ago. That was the agenda a month ago.
So I just wondering why it took until 10:30 this morning. It wasn't an updated agenda and why the other one went out. If your concerns were being addressed.
They added two site plans today. That's where Ellis is. Ellis is taking care of business. He's taking care of business.
We just need to make sure.
And he defends his staff. He does not like the action that allows him to do their job. And that's the problem we have now. You got 9 managers here. When they screw up, they want to fire the people that say they're shit. How's that? You're a bad pilot. Yeah, I trained you. I should know.
But in this case, you know, we went through 6 weeks of this. He's here to make a recommendation, period, not to tell us what to do. We're free to do the exact opposite or anything in between.
Now, let me also add to that. It's in the minutes where Henry said they're gonna bring up the alert that the standing committee.
It's not legal.
I know. And I was gonna come in here and if they brought it up, instead of calling point of order, in violation of state law, to do what you do. So table it. Or better yet, dismiss it.
Okay, we'll get copies of this name.
Let's give it.
That's the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let it have.
2008. Here's what I'm concerned about.
And our minutes, our bylaws were mostly were written from this, but things have been changed.
Here you go. This one here. That's on your membership, appointment, term, vacancy, ex officio members and all that. Number 9. The legislative body may remove a member of the planning commission. Misfeasance, malfeasance, and nonfeasance in office upon written charges and after a public hearing. That's what they took out of our bylaws. And me at the time not realizing state law. We were approving meeting dates.
Probably should highlight that.
All of mine is already highlighted, but I got the little red stick flags on. So when we come back, that's what we're gonna talk about. But I want us to get together and go over that. Yeah, that's not item number 9. Now. And then, the mayor and one in Henry are the only two. We can only vote one, either here or in the city commission, right? So whenever they talk, we have to make sure we got a forum. We want to push it in, because we ain't gonna get their votes. They like to vote out there, because then that is done. They vote here, they go out there and get over. Now, the mayor appoints, but the commission takes you off. Now, when the mayor appoints, it has to be approved by the city commission. Now, we can recommend that they take somebody off. So, me saying by giving them a public hearing, they got a voice. We go out and rally up all the people about why they should stay. So, if we come in here and I want to push for something, building downstairs. You know, nobody wants to do it, so let's get it done. Let's get rid of this trouble. You gotta give me calls, you gotta be inviting, why they got to take me home. So they can just say, you know, maybe it's now, just get ready, you have no voice, no say, you can't come back. But if you have a public hearing, now I can speak at the public hearing and anybody can support me, and I can put it out there what they're doing. That's just to minimize people. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Now, the class you took in Kalamazoo, they have a draft of what a bylaw should look like. And they also have the language in there about hearing. So we're on good speaking ground. Plus, I talked with the city attorney on the city grant. That's Rocky. Rocky.
Rocky. R-E-C-H. Rocky.
Okay. He said, state law gives us the power. We are a co-branch of government. We're not a committee. We are a co-branch of government. We are part of the government. So we say we want to do a review. We don't have to hire anybody. We can do a review ourselves. So we want, and once a year, we're supposed to do that. And then once a year, we go back and give them an update on what we've done all year long. So we can come back and say, I want to give a 10-minute presentation before the city commission. And it's likely they'll grant 10 minutes to hear what you got to say. So I said, the whole year, we get a nice PowerPoint. Great. But you know, there are some things that we can do. Writing our own bylaws is one of them. They don't write our bylaws. They don't approve our bylaws. So us putting that back in there, they cannot take it out. So that's us on this one. Where does the power come from? We should be trying to enable. Right, that's the law. And it says in here, matter of fact, let me show you this. I just have to carry on.